There we go. There we are. Okay, it is time for Strat-0-Matic baseball. We're playing 2 today. Ernie Banks would have liked that. We had the Indians bash the Red Sox earlier today. This is going to be the Senators at the Tigers, Washington at Detroit, April 15th, 1966. It's the first game of a 3-game series, and you can see I've got a giant Jim Duckworth card on the table here. Duckworth will start for the Senators. He'll be opposed by Dave Wickersham, another right-hander, for the Tigers. I printed this Duckworth from computer-only cards from my Windows game. I've done that for one other starting pitcher. I do that for the starting pitchers. I did do it for one hitter. I believe it was Kernick, who had a very strange card where he had low on base versus lefties, but quite a lot of triples. And then against righties, he had a higher on base, but with very few hits. And I could not find a nameless card to match that at all. So I printed Kernick. But I've done it before with the starting pitchers, because I think if you're going to use a starting pitcher, you should have the right card. So Duckworth, he had a very short career. He pitched well for Washington in '65, so much so they brought him back. He wasn't too good this year with a 6.84 ERA, and he was out of baseball 2 years later. Wickersham, a right-hander, 3.2 earned run average and 14 starts for Detroit. So we're going to have to keep Duckworth over here for now as I give you the lineups. For the Senators, playing right field and leading off, Fred Valentine. Don Blasingame will be at second, batting second. Ken McMullen, the third baseman, hits third. Big Frank Howard will be in left field and hit cleanup. Bob Chance at first base will hit fifth. Don Locke will be the center fielder and hit sixth. Paul Casanova will do the catching and hit seventh. And here I'm doing give me poetic license on this one. Mike Brumley actually caught this game for Washington, but his little card was so terrible, and he only batted 18 times that season, so I'm not even going to bother. We're going to go with Casanova at catcher today. Brinkman, the shortstop, hits 8th, and Duckworth bats 9th. And hello, Simon. Simon's back for the second game of the Twin Bill today. Here's the lineup for the Tigers. Dick McAuliffe at short leads off. Jerry Lumpy will play second base and hit second. Norm Cash at first base in the 3 spot. Al Kaline will play right field and bat cleanup, with Willie Horton in left field batting 5th. Don Wirt, the third baseman, hits 6th. Bill Freehan will do the catching and bat 7th. Mickey Stanley in center field hits 8th, and Wickersham batting 9th. So there's your lineups. We're about ready to go here. I had some soup in between the games and made a cup of chamomile tea. So I'm trying to rest the cords as much as possible here, but the game will go on. On Game 1 of the World Series Day. Right now it's Washington at Detroit, 1966. Okay, Wickersham's ready to go now. Fred Valentine steps in to lead things off. The switch hitter batting lefty against Wickersham. Wickersham gets the sign from Freehan. Here's the windup in the first pitch of the ball game. It's a 4-7 to the lefty, and he walks him. So it's a leadoff walk to Valentine. Valentine very fast. He'll have to be held on. Wickersham a 0 hold, but Freehand a -3, so that will knock him down to a 1 through 12 held. So he'll stay put, and here comes Blasingame, who will hit away. Blasingame, a left-handed hitter. Wickersham from the stretch, and here's the pitch to Blasingame. 2-11. Foul ball behind the plate. Freehand's on it, and makes the catch for the first out. And that'll bring up Ken McMullen with one down. McMullen a righty. Wickersham from the stretch, and here's the pitch to McMullen. That's a 6-6 to the righty. It's a double to 7, but he's going to settle for a long single with a 2-base advance. So a base hit McMullen. Valentine, with his speed, easily makes it into third. And Washington has first and third and one away, and here comes Big Frank Howard. Howard with light tower power, as they used to say. Wickersham in a jam right off the bat here. The infield will be back. Okay, Wickersham from the stretch, the pitch to Howard. That's a 4-5. Grounder to third B. That's going to score a run, so that goes down to third. Wirt to Lumpy, back to first, not in time. So that goes 5-4. McMullen is forced. Valentine comes in to score the first run of the game, and that'll be an RBI for Howard. Howard's on first now with 2 away. Howard very slow. To say that he would finish third if he raced a pregnant lady would be about right. And here comes Bob Chance with 2 away. Wickersham from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Chance. 6-9 to the lefty. Fly to left, playable. Horton's there. He's got it. And that'll retire the side. Washington picks up a run on 1 hit, and they leave a man. And at the end of half an inning, it's Senators 1, Tigers coming to bat. It's almost weird saying Senators after all these years. And here's the giant Duckworth. I wonder if Jim Duckworth was related to the Duckworth who pitched for the Phillies in the 90s. I just thought of that. I think his name was Jim also. Maybe not. Anyway, Duckworth, I'll move him up a little so we can get the hitters on the field. Dick McAuliffe will lead things off for Detroit. Duckworth is ready to go now. He gets the sign from Casanova. McAuliffe, a left-handed hitter. Duckworth ready to go to work now. Winds and deals. That's a 4-7 to the lefty. Ball 4, he loses him. So a leadoff walk to McAuliffe. McAuliffe, no threat to steal, a decent runner. And here's Jerry Lumpy, the second baseman. Lumpy, a lefty. Duckworth from the stretch, the pitch to Lumpy. That's a 1-8 to the right-hander. Grounder to second. Blasingame takes it, goes to Brinkman at short, back to first, not in time. So that'll go as a force play. That'll go 4-6. McAuliffe is forced. And Lumpy's on first now with 1 away. And that'll bring up Norm Cash. So Cash facing Duckworth here, just getting underway. 1-0 Senators. From the stretch, here's the pitch to Cash. 2-7 against the right-hander, and he draws the walk. So 2 walks by Duckworth already. Lumpy takes second. The Tigers have something going in the bottom of the first, and here comes Al Kaline. Kaline stands in from the right side. Duckworth from the stretch. And here's the pitch to Kaline. 5-6 to the righty. A single on a 1. However, that's hit down to ground ball A. Single, doesn't even say where it's hit. Anyway, it's a ground ball A, which is a double play. So we're just going to call it a 6-4-3, since it doesn't show me on this card. And the Tigers, no runs on no hits. They drew 2 walks and left 1 on. After 1 complete, it's Senators 1, Tigers nothing. Moving along to the second inning, Wickersham's getting set to warm up here. He's getting loose. Don Locke will lead things off for the Washington Senators. All righty, here we go. Wickersham winds and deals. Here's the pitch to Locke. 2-7, ball 4. Locke draws the walk. So quite a few walks in the game. That's the 4th walk of the game so far, 2 on each side. Locke takes first, and here's Casanova, the catcher. Casanova, a right-handed hitter. Locke not held, and here's the pitch from the stretch. It's a 3-5 against the right-hander. That is a triple to 5, but it's going to be a long double into center field. That's an open double. Locke can try to score on that. Stanley's a -1. Locke a 14. That would make him a 1-13. With nobody out, he's going to hold up. That will give Washington 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. So there's no sense getting thrown out at the plate this early. And Detroit is going to have to pull the infield in early now. Brinkman, a B bunter. Brinkman, not much of a hitter, but a very good handler of the bat. So, Detroit expecting a play. They bring the infield in. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Wickersham from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Brinkman. It's a 6-7. That's a grounder to second base X. That's lumpy. He's a 4-E8. Here's the roll for the play. An 18 on the 4. It's a ground ball B. It goes to Lumpy, and he throws to the plate, and they've got Locke caught up between home and third, and now they've got Locke in a rundown. And they're going to run him down. Locke will be forced, so they get the lead man. Casanova winds up on third. Brinkman at first. So that goes 4-2. So they get the lead runner. There's 1 out. They got the guy at the plate, 1st and 2nd. 1 out, and now Duckworth is up. Duckworth, a C bunter. He's going to try to lay 1 down. That's an 8 on the C. Batter thrown out, runners advance. So it's successful sacrifice. Goes 1-3 for Duckworth, and the runners move up. Or I should say the runner moves up. Casanova does not. And with 2 away, that's Fred Valentine coming to bat. Valentine, a switchy hitting left. Wickersham ready to work now from the stretch. Pitch to Valentine is a 4-5. Grounder to first. Easy play for Cash. He'll take it to the bag himself, and that'll do it. So Washington fails to score on that. They had 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. No runs a hit, they leave a pair. So a wasted opportunity there for the Washington Senators. And we go to the bottom of the 2nd. The Senators still holding a 1-0 lead. And here comes Duckworth. Duckworth warming. It'll be Horton, Wirt, and Freehand for Detroit in the bottom of the 2nd. Horton standing in now from the right side. Willie Horton with a lot of power. Duckworth winds and deals. That's a 3-7. It's a base hit into left field for Horton. So Willie Horton with a leadoff single. And that'll bring up Wirt. Wirt, the right-handed hitting third baseman, standing in now. Duckworth from the stretch gets the sign from Casanova, and here we go. It's a 1-3 to the righty. That's a grounder to third. That's going to be McMullen. He's got it. 2 blasts in game, back to first, not in time. So that'll be a force play. Horton's erased, and Wirt is on second. He's a 13, but not an asterisk. Duckworth, a +2 hold. Casanova, a -1. So that would make Wirt a 14 if he could get the lead. He needs a 7 to do it. He's going to try to establish a good lead and does not do so. So Freehand will hit away now. Wirt on first, 1 away, and here's the pitch to Freehand. 6-10 to the right-hander. That's catcher's card X. That's going to be Casanova. He's a 2E8. Here's the roll on the play. 12, that goes to the error frequency. So on an E8, it's a roll of a 10, and that will be a ground ball C. That means the runner advances, I think. Let me double check that. Yes, runners advance always on a ground ball C. So that goes 2-3, and Wirt takes second, and there's 2 away. And with 2 away, Mickey Stanley will be the batter. 1-0 Washington, just getting underway here. Duckworth from the stretch. The pitch to Stanley is a 4-11. And that is a homer. That's deep to left. Stanley is an end power, and that's going to be a 2-run homer for Stanley. Holy cow, let's check that again. 4-11 right-handed. Homer to 14, it's a 12. I was looking for Stanley to be he is a weak. Okay, that's what I thought. Against righty, he's a weak. So that's a single. I beg your pardon. A weak batter cannot homer off of the pitcher's card, for those new to the game. And so 4-11, that's going to be a base hit with a 2-base advance. So that will drive in Wirt. That'll be an RBI single for Stanley. Almost made a mistake there. Looking at the end power, Stanley has end power against left-handed pitching, but he's a weak against right-handed pitching, and that explains that play. And here's Wickersham. Wickersham, a right-handed hitter. 1 hitting card. And here's Duckworth's pitch from the stretch. That's a 6-4. Fly to center field X. That's going to be Locke. He's a 2E9. And you can hear my cat. Anybody who caught the first game knows I've already fed him twice today. Here's the play to center. A 2E9 on an 8. That's an easy play for Locke. He puts it away. And that'll retire the side. But Detroit ties the game up on 2 hits. They leave a man. And at the end of 2, it's a 1-1 tie. So we'll move the giant Duckworth out of the way. I'm going to take a short break and double check the cat's food again. I don't know what your problem is today. I really do not. Okay, that's it. There's no more wet food. You've had wet food twice. Okay, I'm back. Unlimited dry food. He's already had wet food twice. And the relentless eating machine will not be satisfied. Okay, so where are we now? Top of the third. Blasingame will lead it off for the Senators. I'll get a little sip of tea here. Wickersham ready to go. The sign from Freehand, and here's the pitch. It's a 3-3 against the right-hander. Grounder down to first. Easy play for Cash. He flips to Wickersham covering. And there's one down. And that'll bring up McMullen. McMullen singled in the first inning. Wickersham from the full windup. Here's the pitch to McMullen, a 6-8. Fly to right field, playable. That's K-line, he's got it. And two down quickly here. And here's Frank Howard. Howard with two away. Wickersham gets the sign. Here's the pitch to Howard on a 6-11. Swung on and missed, strike three, and a big cut by Howard, but down he goes. 1-2-3 inning for Wickersham. We go to the bottom of the third, all knotted up at 1. As we go to the bottom of the third, Detroit will have the top of the order. McAuliffe, Lumpy, and Cash. Okay, Duckworth's ready to go. He gets the sign from Casanova, the windup and the pitch to McAuliffe. 3-7 against the righty. McAuliffe draws the walk. So that's twice today McAuliffe has walked. He's on first, and here comes Lumpy. Lumpy bounced out to second in the first inning. McAuliffe not held. Duckworth from the stretch now, and here's the pitch to Lumpy. That'll be a 5-8. Homer to 2. It's a 2, but once again, Lumpy is a weak, so that will be a single with a two-base advance. Now let's double-check this one. 5-8, lefty. So that's a single to 2. Lumpy, a weak, gets a single. McAuliffe takes third, and the Tigers have runners at the corners and nobody out here. Duckworth probably not long for this game. Let's see what happened in the real world. In real life in this game, Duckworth lasted 3 2/3. That sounds about right to me. And here's Norm Cash. And that means that McCormick will get loose in the Washington pen already. So Mike McCormick warming up. Okay, meantime, it's Duckworth versus Cash here. Runners on the corners, nobody out. Infield playing back, looking for 2, and here's the pitch to Cash. That's a 2-7, and he loses him. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Duckworth an S5 as far as endurance goes. God, I'm tempted to pull him out right now. Or maybe he should face one more batter here. This is tough. And having this cold is not making it easier. McCormick's a lefty. Probably let Duckworth go one more. Bringing in a left-hander to face K-line doesn't seem like much of an advantage. All right, Duckworth's going to get one more shot here. Bases loaded, nobody out. If he doesn't get this guy, he's out. And here's the pitch to K-line. That's going to be a 6-3. Fly to left field X, but that's Frank Howard, who's a 5E5. He has the range of a turtle out there. A 7 on a 5. That's a single with a 2-base advance. That's going to drive in 2 runs. Howard couldn't even get close to it. A 2 RBI single for K-line. McAuliffe scores. Lumpy scores. Cash takes third. And it's 3-1. And here comes Gil Hodges. And yep, that's going to be all for Duckworth. So an early shower for Jim Duckworth. Duckworth 2+. He could not even retire a batter in the third. 4 hits. He walked 4. He dug his own grave. He did not fool anybody. 0 strikeouts. Runner at second is still his responsibility. Second and third, excuse me. No, first and third. K-line's at first. Cash at third. Nobody out. Horton the hitter. And here comes McCormick. McCormick pitched in this game in real life. .46, 216 innings, primarily as a starter, but he did work in relief, including this ball game. He is a relief endurance 3. So he's perfect for your middleman kind of role. He'll come on here to face Willie Horton. Okay, McCormick's ready to work now. First and third, still nobody out. 3-1 Detroit. And here's the pitch to Willie Horton. That's going to be a 4-6. Grounder to first B, so that's going to score a run. That'll be a force play. That will go 3-6 back to first, not in time. That score is cash. RBI for Horton. K-line is forced. And it's 4-1. And that's the first out of the inning. Runner on first, and here comes Don Wirt. McCormick, lefty from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Wirt. That's a 6-9. Grounder to short B. That will be Brinkman to Blasingame, not in time. So they get the lead runner on the force, 6-4. Horton is forced. Wirt to first, and there's 2 down. So Wirt safe at first on the relay there. And here's Bill Freehand with 2 down. McCormick, a lefty. 1-9. Swung on him, missed, strike 3. So that's 3 runs for the Tigers on 2 hits. They leave a man. There were no errors. There were 2 walks in the inning. At the end of 3 complete, it's 4-1 Detroit. As Wickersham gets ready to work in the top of the 4th, he'll be seeing Chance, Locke, and Casanova. Excuse me. Okay, Wickersham ready to go. Chance, the left-handed hitter, 0 for 1. Wickersham, the windup and the pitch. That's a 4-7. And he loses him, ball 4. So a leadoff walk to Chance. Chance very slow. He's on with nobody out, and here comes Don Locke. Locke walked in the 2nd. Wickersham from the stretch, and here's the pitch to Locke. 2-6 against the righty, and he draws the walk. So back-to-back walks put runners on first and second. And here comes Paul Casanova, the potential tying run at the plate. Freehan out to have a few words with Wickersham now. Okay, they're set. They're ready to go. Freehan back into the crouch. Wickersham from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Casanova. That's a 6-6. That's a double 1-7. That is indeed a ringing double into the left center gap. That's going to drive in a run. So a double by Casanova scores chance. Locke holds at third. And the Washington Senators have something going here in the fourth. It's now 4-2. And they have the tying runs in scoring position and nobody out. And Ed Brinkman, the batter. Now, we've been in this situation before. Wickersham in S7 as far as endurance goes. And the Tigers are going to pull the infield in again with Brinkman up. Second and third, nobody out. Here's Brinkman. 1-5 against the righty. That's a ground ball C. With the infield in, everybody holds. So that'll go 4-3. Runners have to hold with the infield in, and they get the batter out. So that's the first out of the inning, and here's the pitcher. The pitcher is now McCormick, who's a 7 hitting card. So I have to get a different pitcher's hitting card out here. What I want to see is his bunting. McCormick's an A bunter. So Detroit will keep the infield in with McCormick up there. So we've got second and third. One away, the pitcher batting, McCormick. And he, with the infield in, he is a B bunter. The runners are going and the squeeze play is on. And here's the roll, a 7 on a B. A perfectly executed squeeze play by McCormick, and that'll score a run. How about that for excitement? Hit it between, forgot it right down between the pitcher and first base. That went 1-4 at first. Locke scores. That's an RBI for McCormick. Casanova takes third on the play. And in the process, I lost the 20-sided dice. That's all right. I've got another one. Bear with me. Tommy. There it is. I've got it. So a perfectly executed squeeze bunt by McCormick drives in a run. And we got a 4-3 ball game. That's the second out. Runner on third and Fred Valentine up. Wickersham ready to work, and here's the pitch to Valentine, a 1-5. Grounder to first. That's Cash. He'll take it to the bag himself. And that'll do it. But 2 runs for Washington on 1 hit, a beautiful squeeze bunt by the pitcher. And we go to the bottom of the fourth, a 4-3 game. Tigers up 4-3. Okay, McCormick getting ready to work. Bottom of the Detroit order, Stanley and then the pitcher. Okay, McCormick, the left-hander, ready to work here. Stanley, a righty, of course. The windup and the pitch. That's a 6-8 to the right-hander. That's a double into the gap. So a ringing leadoff double for Mickey Stanley. The Tigers are threatening here in the bottom of the inning. That'll bring up Wickersham. Wickersham, a D bunter, so they'll go ahead and play back for him. He's going to hit away. Here's the pitch to Wickersham. 1-8, and he strikes out. Not a big surprise there. That's the first out. And here's Dick McAuliffe. McAuliffe, a lefty. Lefty on lefty here. Runner on second, one away. Here's the pitch from McCormick. That's a 6-12. That's a grounder back to the pitcher X. McCormick, a 4-E-0. That's a 5. That'll be the error range. So on an E0, obviously, he cannot make an error. It's a ground ball A, runner advances. So that goes 1-3, the put out. Stanley takes third on the play, and there's 2 away. And that'll bring up Lumpy, the second baseman. Lumpy 1 for 2 today. McCormick from the stretch. That's going to be a 4-6, and he walks him. So he loses Lumpy, lefty on lefty. That's a batter he really needed to get out. And we've got runners on the corners, and here comes Norm Cash. So Cash could tie up this game or even put the Tigers into the lead with one swing of the bat. Or they are in the lead. Never mind. They're out 4-3. I beg your pardon. So Tigers up 4-3. Runners at the corners. And here's Cash. McCormick from the stretch. That's going to be a 5-8. That's a triple 1-7. But on a 19, that's going to be a double into center. That'll score 1 run for sure. Stanley will score. Lumpy can try to score. The center fielder is Locke, a -2. Lumpy, however, is a 1 through 9, so he won't be trying that. So an RBI double for Norm Cash. Lumpy holds at third. And it's 5-3 Detroit, and here comes Al Kaline. McCormick ready to work now. Here's the pitch to Kaline. That's a 6-5. Grounder to short X. That's Brinkman. Brinkman has good range. He's a 2E29. Here's the roll. A 4 on a 2, and he makes a dazzling diving play, pops to his feet, and throws Kaline out. How about that? So amazing play by Brinkman, and how amazing, you say? Okay, well, that's a 4 on a 2 shortstop. Only a 1 or a 2 range shortstop could have made that play. But the Tigers pick up a run on a pair of doubles, and they leave a couple. At the end of 4, it's Tigers 5, Senators 3. Wickersham going out for his 5th inning of work here. Blasingame, McMullen, and Howard due for the Senators. Blasingame 0 for 2, a left-handed batter. Here's Wickersham's pitch. It's a 2-4, and he draws the walk. Quite a few walks in this ball game. And that'll bring up Ken McMullen. And now Orlando Pena begins throwing in the Detroit pin. So Wickersham having a little conference on the mound with Freehand, probably buying some time for Pena. And now he's ready to work now. Runner on first, nobody out. His pitch to McMullen is a 2-6. That's deep to left field. Horton going back on the track and makes the catch for the out. So let's look at that again. 2-6 righty, homer to 3, but the roll, as you can see, is a 15. So that's a deep fly to left, and there's one away. And that'll bring up Big Frank Howard. Wickersham from the stretch. The pitch to Howard is a 6-6 right-handed. That's going to be a double into the gap with a two-base advance. So Howard rips a double. Blassingame's going to have to hold up at third, however. And the Senators have runners in scoring position, second and third with one out. Those are the represent the potential tying runs. And here's Bob Chance. And Chuck Dressen has seen enough, and here he comes. He's coming out to, he's got the right arm up already. He's coming out to get Wickersham here in the fifth. Pena's been throwing. So that'll be it for Wickersham. He goes 4 1/3. Four hits. He walked 5, so much like Duckworth, these pitchers just weren't throwing strikes at all today. He only struck out 1. He's allowed 3 runs, but the 2 runners in scoring position are his responsibility. Chance is up, Locke's on deck. And here comes Orlando Pena now. Pena pitched in long relief in this game in real life. A righty, 3.08 ERA and 108 innings of relief. Orlando Pena. Now I remember that name. I can't tell you a whole lot about him. Oh, that's okay, Simon. You know, the only thing I had wondered earlier, and it's not a big deal, was Jim Duckworth, the starting pitcher for Washington. There was a Duckworth, and I think his name was Jim too, that pitched for the Phillies in the 90s. And I wonder if that might have been his son. Or nephew or something. The Don Kessinger, who just came up as the Astros backup shortstop this year. His name isn't Don, it's something Kessinger. I looked that up, and that's Don Kessinger's grandson. I just had a feeling. I wonder if it's related to Kessinger, the shortstop. Another shortstop in the family. Okay, Pena coming on now. We've got runners at second and third and 1 out. A 5-3 game, the Tigers leading. So the tying runs are in scoring position. Bob Chance at the plate, and here's Pena coming into the game. From the stretch, the pitch to Chance, that's a 5-7, and that's going to be a double asterisk single, and this game is tied up at 5. How about that? So Blasingame scores, Howard scores. It's a 5-5 game. Chance very slow. He won't be held. And here's Don Locke. So neither one of the starting pitchers will have anything to do with this one, as Pena gets ready to work to Locke. That's a 3-6 to the righty. Swung on and missed strike 3. So Pena founds Locke, and there's 2 down. And that'll bring up Paul Casanova. He's 2 for 2 today with a pair of doubles. Drove in a run in the 4th. Pena ready to go now. Pitch to Casanova, a 2-3. Tapper back to the mound. Pena knocks it down. throws to first in time, and that'll do it. But the Senators tie up the game, 2 runs on 2 hits and leave the man. We go to the bottom of the 5th, all knotted up at 5, and we got ourselves a ball game. So both starters ineffective. Duckworth 4 runs. Wickersham 5 earned. So Mike McCormick comes out again for the Senators. McCormick's gone 2 innings. He's a relief endurance of 3. So this will be his first inning in which he could potentially tire. He'll be looking at Horton, Word, and Freehand. In case he does, and if he does, good morning, Vietnam. Okay, Ron Klein will be warming in the Washington pen. I couldn't resist. So McCormick, the lefty, Willie Horton to lead things off. And here's the pitch. That's a 4-11 to the right-hander. It's a base hit into left field. So a leadoff single to Willie Horton, who's 2 for 3 today now. And that'll bring up Wirt. McCormick from the stretch, and here's the pitch to Wirt. 3-4. It's a grounder to third. This could be 2. McMullen to Blassingame to first, double play. So Wirt bounces into the 5-4-3. That clears the bases, and there's 2 down. And that'll bring up Bill Freehand, the catcher. McCormick into the windup now. Pitch to Freehand. It's a 5-7. Fly to center, playable. Locks there. He's got it. And that'll do it. So no runs a hit, no one left. And after 5 complete, it's a 5-5 tie. Pena warming up for the 6th here. He'll be seeing Brinkman, the pitcher's spot, and Valentine. The only question is, yeah, they'll probably hit for McCormick, who's pitched 3 innings. Okay, Pena ready to work. Here's Brinkman, the windup in the pitch. That's a 5-8. Grounder to second X. That's Lumpy. He's a 4-E-8. Here's the roll on the play. 14 on the 4, and Lumpy makes the play. Nice play by Lumpy. That'll go 4-3, and now we'll have a hitter for McCormick. McCormick 0 for 1, but did have an RBI. I tend to forget about those pitchers' RBI, so I'm going to write that in now. So Washington needs a hitter. And that's going to be Willie Kirkland, who batted in this game in real life. Kirkland, a left-handed batter. He's got some power. Not much on base, but he's got some power. Okay, Pena ready to go now. Kirkland stands in from the left side. Here's the pitch to Kirkland on a 3-3. He taps it down to first. Cash is there. Flips to Pena covering. And that's 2 down. And that'll bring up Fred Valentine. Valentine, left-handed. Pena, and the pitch from Pena to Valentine is a 3-8 against the righty. Fly to right field. routine play for K-line, and that'll retire the side. So 3 up, 3 down for Pena here in the 6th. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, still knotted at 5 each. So McCormick's out of the game. He went 3 innings. 3 hits allowed. He walked 1. Struck out a pair. He allowed 1 earned run. And Klein, who was warming, is coming in. He's a righty. 6-4 with a 2.39 ERA. So Klein on to pitch for the Senators. And he'll face the bottom of the Detroit order. Stanley, the pitcher's spot, and then McAuliffe. Stanley's 2 for 2 today. Klein winds and deals. That's a 1-9. Liner to second, right in between all of Stanley's hits. So that's speared by Blasingame, and Stanley's retired on the line drive. Now what to do here? You got a tie game. Now Pena's staying in. I can tell you that right now. He's a 1-hitter card, so we don't need to change that. He is a right-handed batter. Here's the pitch. 1-9, swung on and missed strike 3. Pena, not much of a hitter, flails feebly at 3 offerings by Klein, and down he goes. And here's McAuliffe. Klein winds and deals. That's a 4-6. Pop up, right side. Blasingame's there, and that'll do it. So a pop out to second. 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers in the 6th. And we're deadlocked at 5 after 6 complete. Now we got ourselves a ball game. Artis was confident in Pena's ability to go long. That's why I let him bat. We'll see how that works out, as the Senators will have Blasingame, McMullen, and Frank Howard due up. And Pena, he's got the sign now from Freehand, and here's the pitch to Blasingame. 6-4 to the lefty. Swung on and missed strike 3, and down goes Blasingame. Blasingame retired on strikes, and here's McMullen. McMullen is 1 for 3 today so far. Pena winds and deals. That's a 1-9. Swung on and missed strike 3. And Pena's got some mustard going this inning, as he fans the first 2 batters, and up to the plate steps big Frank Howard. Howard always a threat to hit 1 long. He's 1 for 3 with a double. And here's the pitch on a 6-8. He singles into left field, just past the diving attempt of Wirt. A 2-out single for Howard. And that'll bring up Bob Chance. Chance 1 for 2 today. 2 RBI single, in his last at bat. Pena ready to go from the stretch. Pitch to Chance is a 3-6. Swung on and missed strike 3, and Pena strikes out the side. So a hit, 1 left, no runs, and we're still deadlocked at 5 as we move to the bottom of the 7th. Klein will come out for his 2nd inning of work here. Lumpy, Cash, and K-line due up. Casey Cox also pitched in this game for Washington. I'm just wondering if they have a left-hander remaining. They've got Dick Lines. He could come into play here. So Lines and Cox warming. Hodges proceeding with caution here with Klein. Klein's a good pitcher, don't get me wrong. He does have a little bit of a gopher ball problem against lefties, however. So we'll see what happens. Here's Lumpy. Here's the pitch. That's a 4-7. Swung on and missed strike 3. So he strikes out Lumpy. And here comes Norm Cash. And this is a batter who's always hit Klein well. They're going to let him pitch to him. Klein winds and deals. That's a 2-6 single to 4 liner speared by Lumpy. Speared by Blasingame, excuse me. 2-6 liner to second. So Cash lines out. So Klein navigates through the lefties, which is what we were a little bit worried about. And here's K-line. Klein winds and deals. 2-11, it's a base hit into left field for K-line. So K-line with a 2-out single. And that'll bring up Willie Horton. Klein from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Horton, a 4-4. It's a fly to left, playable. Frank Howard barely has to move, thankfully. Yeah, it makes the catch for the out. So that's no runs, a hit, 1 left. After 7 complete, it's a 5-5 tie. And welcome, Tony. Oh, thank you, Simon. Yeah, Brandon was the one I was trying to think of. Brandon Duckworth. Phillies, right? And Tony, I've been under the weather, but the game must go on. Sorry about the Phillies, buddy. Diamondbacks, man. I thought the Dodgers would tear through them, and I thought the Phillies would tear through them, and here they are. You never know. So we move along to the 8th inning in a 5-5 game here in Detroit. Pena's out there ready to work again. He's going to see Locke, Casanova, and Brinkman here in the top of the 8th. Pena winds and deals. And here's the pitch to Locke. That's a 3-7 against the righty. Swung on and missed strike 3. So Locke today has walked twice and struck out twice. And here's Paul Casanova, the catcher, 2 for 3. Pena gets the sign from Freehand. Here's the pitch, a 1-8. Grounder down to short. Routine play for McAuliffe. And that's quickly 2 away. And that'll bring up Brinkman. He's 0 for 3. He's hit ground balls to second base in all 3 times he's been at bat today. And Pena delivers to him on a 5-4 catcher's card X. Freehand, gold glove caliber at a 1E2. Plus a -3 rifle for an arm. That's an 8 on the E2, and he makes the play, of course. So that'll go 2-3, retires the side, 2-3X. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, still locked up at 5 apiece. What a game. Yeah, they did. They're fundamentally sound, and they have a lot of speed. I didn't think their pitching was as good as it's looked, but they're doing it. Okay, bottom of the 8th. Klein back out for his 3rd inning of work. He is an R3. So this will be the first inning he could possibly fatigue. He's backed up by Lyons and Cox in the Washington pen, and he'll be facing Wirt, Freehan, and Stanley here in the bottom of the 8th. Klein in his 3rd inning of work now. He's ready to go. Winds and deals. The pitch to Wirt's a 2-7. That's a fly to center, playable. That's a lock. He's there. Easy play for him, and that's 1 down. Right in between in Wirt's good column there, a 2-7. And here's Freehan. Freehan today is 0 for 3. Freehan, a magnificent defensive catcher. And here's Klein's pitch to. That's a 1-7. Fly to center, playable. That's a lock again. Barely has to move for that one. There's 2 down, and that'll bring up Stanley. And here's Klein's pitch to Stanley. A 1-9. He rips a liner speared by Blasenkamp. So a 1-2-3 inning for Klein, and we go to the 9th inning, all tied up at 5. And that's 3 innings from Klein, and that'll be all for him because he's going to yield for a pinch hitter to lead off the 9th. So in his 3 innings of work, he allowed only 1 hit. He didn't walk anyone. He struck out 2, and he held the Tigers scoreless for 3 innings. So Dick Lyons has been warming. He's going to be coming on for Washington. In the bottom of the inning. He's a left-hander, Lyons. And the Senators will send up a pinch hitter for Klein. And that's going to be Jim King. He pinch hit in this game in real life. And he's going to pinch hit here. King, a left-handed hitter. Pena ready to go to work now. Tie ball game. 5 runs apiece. Top of the 9th. Pena winds and deals. That's a 6-12 to the lefty. That's a fly to left field X. That is Horton. He's a 4E6. Horton not much range, but pretty sure-handed out there on a 20. He makes the catch. How about that? A fine play by Horton. So King is retired. And Fred Valentine will be the hitter. Valentine, the leadoff man, 0 for 3 today. Pena winds and deals. That's going to be a 6-8. Grounder to second. That's playable for Lumpy. He's got it. Throws to Cash, and there's 2 down. And with 2 away, it'll be Don Blasenkamp. Blasenkamp 0 for 3 with a walk today. Pena winds and deals. That's a 5-8 grounder to second base X. That's a Lumpy. He's a 4E8. Here's the roll on the play. A 5 on a 4. That gets past Lumpy for a base hit. He's a 4 on a roll of a 5. Yep, base hit off of the second baseman X. So a 2-out single for Blasenkamp. And that'll bring up McMullen. Pena, a relief endurance rating of 4. Two-thirds. 3 2/3, so he's pitched 4. He's going to pitch to McMullen. They'd like him to stay in the game because he's due to lead off the bottom of the inning. Anyway, from the stretch, a runner on first, 2 down. Here's the pitch to McMullen. It's a 6-5, and that's a deep fly ball to left field. Back goes Horton to the wall, and that ball is gone. Ken McMullen has just cracked a 2-run home run to put the Senators on top 7-5. Let's look at that again. 6-5, homer to 15, it's an 8. And Ken McMullen with a 2-run shot. How about that? You know, I thought for a second about pulling Pena. He wasn't fatigued. He was in his possible inning of fatigue. Wow. Wow. Well, he'll pitch to Howard. 7-5 Senators. Pena composes himself and winds and deals to Howard. That's a 3-3. Grounder down to third. That'll be Wirt. Wirt takes it, throws across, and that'll do it. But McMullen's 2-run homer in the 9th here. 2 runs on 2 hits. And the Senators are up 7-5. As I mentioned, Dick Lyons will be coming on. Also, since Howard made the last out of the inning, let's see if we can't get him out of left field. Do they have anybody better? Not much. Bob Saverin's a little better. I guess we'll do that. He's a 4 instead of a 5. So Saverin's going to come on and play left. Saverin is a 4E8. Well, it's a lot better than a 5E5. Plus 2 arms, same as Howard, in case that comes into play. So Saverin in left. Everything else looks pretty good there. Lyons, a left-hander now coming on for Washington. 2.28 ERA in 83 innings. He had a pair of saves. Simon was pulling for extras. Hey, it could still happen. We're going to have a hitter for Pena. Pena went 4 2/3. 4 hits. The big home run was the blow. He did not walk a batter. And he struck out 5. So Pena pitched very well, but one mistake to McMullen, and that's all it takes in this game, folks. That's boom, over the fence. All right, so we need a hitter for Detroit. Batting for Pena. Dick Lyons, a lefty. Gates Brown played in this game in real life, but he's a left-handed hitter, so it's not going to be him. It might be Demeter. Could be Wood. Jake Wood or Don Demeter. Wood, a better on-base guy. Demeter with a little more pop. So we're going to go with Jake Wood. They need to get somebody on base. They're down by 2. So Jake Wood will pinch hit for the pitcher. Lyons, the left-hander, on now. 7-5 Senators, bottom of the 9th. Here's Lyons' delivery to Wood. That's going to be a 5-9. Fly ball into right field. That's playable for Valentine. He's got it, and there's 1 down. So Wood's retired. And that'll bring up Dick McAuliffe. Lyons gets the sign from Casanova, and here's the pitch to McAuliffe. 5-7, swung on and missed strike 3, and down goes McCullough. From Detroit's down to their last out. And it's not going to be lumpy. He's just too bad against left-handed pitching. I've got to try to do something for Detroit here. They've got Trzaskowski at second, but he's not much of a hitter. Oilers is short. Demeter's the only option that makes any sense. He almost hit for the pitcher, so Demeter is going to come up and bat for Lumpy. With 2 down in the 9th and the Tigers trailing by 2, they really need something out of Demeter here. Don Demeter, a right-handed batter, 268, 14 home runs in about a half season worth of bats. Lions ready to work to him. Here's the windup and the pitch. That's going to be a 110 against the lefty. Liner speared by Blasingame, and that's the ball game. So Demeter lines out to second. And Lyons retires the starting order here in the 9th, and that's your final. 7-5 Washington, a hell of a game. Neither starter pitched well. Ended up being a bullpen game. Pena tried to Iron Man it. He did well. He had good command, but he grooved one to McMullen, and that was it. Lyons pitched an inning, retired all the batters he faced with a strikeout. Lyons gets a save. Klein is the winning pitcher. He was in there when they took the lead, and Pena takes the loss. Pena pitched well, but he takes the loss. For the Senators, 7 runs on 8 hits, no errors. No errors in the ball game. The Tigers had 5 runs on 8 hits and no errors. Very close game, folks. That's your final from Detroit, 7-5 Senators. Tomorrow at 3, that's 3 p.m. Pacific time, we will have the Chicago Cubs at the Los Angeles Dodgers. So please join me for that. If you like this game, click the like button. That helps me out. Dick Ellsworth versus Don Drysdale tomorrow. Couple of good ones on the mound. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you liked it, and enjoy the World Series. I'm going to go get ready for that now. So this is Steve Aquilon wishing everyone a good evening, and take care out there. Bye for now.